Good evening. This is the Activated One, New Brighton, breaking down the number 4, the symbolism behind the number 4, the secret symbolism behind the number 4. Well, you have the new 4. The new 4, as you can see, it's, well, let me break down the 4 first. The 4 is actually a secret electrical power number. That's what the number 4 is. It's a secret electrical power number. Now, these scientists and astrologers, the ones that study numbers and they study the individual power of a number. The number 4 is an electrical number. It's a power surge number. It's a connection number to something greater, upper dimensional number. Now, when you're dealing with the universe and these numbers, when I was born, like I said, I did a video on how when certain babies are born, certain so-called black babies, when they're born, they take your blood without your consent, and they run it through a system. And when they run it through the system, they're looking for ancient DNA that matches, or something that comes close to it. That's why when you have these old skeleton bones that they find, these farmers and these people that dig, when they find a skeleton bone, and it might be a giant, it might be a little bit abnormal to the standard skeletons, they shut the whole project down, and then they come snatch everything up, because what they're doing is they're looking for the DNA. So they're looking for the DNA because they know when you're born that you can reincarnate, you could come back. And then when that happens and you do come back, I say about 90% of your memory gets erased. The other 10% comes back in spurts, depending on certain situations and certain people you encounter. You might re-encounter from a past life. It starts triggering thoughts from your past life. So that's why they do that. And they're trying to check to see if your DNA code pop back up. But going back to the number 4, it's an electrical surge power number, because in this 3-dimensional realm, when you're dealing with the old 4, because the old 4, the tops weren't connected. They were like a field goal post, or one of those old magnets, going back to the magnetism, the old magnets. So the reason why these philosophers, and these Greco-Roman priests, they do certain stuff for a reason. So they close the top off because that's electrical surge. That's a power point. Like when you're dealing with TV antennas, the old school TV antennas, that's what the old 4 represented. It represented the frequencies, tapping into certain frequencies, because in this 3-dimensional realm, you're dealing with the 4th dimensional realm that's above the 3rd dimension. So the reason why they connected the top is that it was symbolism of closing off the transmission, closing off. They wanted to close off your connection to the upper dimensions, because they know that's where the power is at. They know the power is in the intel. I keep telling people that it's in the intel, not the information. Now, I had one cat comment on one of my old videos. He's like, man, you keep repeating yourself, this and that. And the reason why some of the stuff I do repeat is because when you're dealing with the media, what does the media do? The media repeats itself over and over again for the sheeple. They do that for a reason, because they want to embed it in your head, embedded it in your mind. That's the only way you can get to the certain ones that are worth moving forward into the future, because everybody's not worth moving forward in the future. That's just the way it is. People still putting faith into religion, putting faith in the other races. They're putting faith in stuff that is not in the fourth dimension. And you got a couple of cats that's on the internet. Now the thing about me, like I don't talk about, people on the internet. The only person I did a video on was Kobe Bryant. And I said to myself, that's the only video I'm gonna do about somebody, because there's no time to waste time on these three-dimensional people. There's no time to waste time on them. That was the only video I did about somebody, a personal video on his DNA code and him possibly being a reincarnated pharaoh or one of the council members. And I was sitting back thinking to myself, I said, man, I'm not finna do no videos about nobody else, because they're not tapped in. They don't matter, because they're not in the future. A lot of people ain't going to be in the future. They're just not. That's just the way it is. I had to accept that. So that was the only video I did about a celebrity or somebody personal. And if you notice, you go back to my videos, that was the only video that I did. And I said that was a waste of time. I'm not doing videos like that no more. But going back to the 4. So when you look at when you have an extension cord or anything you plug up in the wall, when you're dealing with positive and negative, if you take that cord and you put it up to your face, it's shaped like a 4. It's shaped like the O4, the electrical surge. Once you plug it into the wall, plug it into something, it sparks electricity. So the reason why they closed the top off, because it was all symbolic to shutting off. They're trying to shut off the ones that will receive from the fourth dimension. It's sort of like the antenna on a TV. That's what the number 4, the old number 4, the antenna on the TV. So they closed the top off. They connected it. That was symbolic to closing you off from the fourth dimension. That's why when I do these videos, it's just like in Egypt. The pharaohs, and they buried certain things. They did certain codes, and a lot of the stuff, everything, they didn't share everything with the world. So these archives, all archives dealing with the present state, will get found by the ones that need to find it. That's why I do these videos. Because when you're trying to talk to people that are connected to what's down here, it's just a waste of time. They're still looking for some, whatever they're looking for, reparations, being accepted by everybody on the planet. But then you still will let anybody come in your neighborhood and make money and don't say nothing about it. So that's the mind frame that a lot of the so-called black race is in. The majority of them, they like the way the world was. They liked it just existing. They liked it that. So now everything's altering and shifting, and some people can't handle it. Some people don't like it. They don't like it. They like the old world. People on the internet, oh, it's a new world order. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Because the ones that don't like the old world, they're looking at this like about time. The ones that love the old world, they're looking at this time like, when is everything going to go back to where it was? It's not. FYI. And that separates the electrical ones being plugged in surge to the upper dimensions, which is the fourth. The number 4, the power number. Dealing with the universal number system. When I was born, I got 3 4s in my social security number. You think that was random? That wasn't random. So when I came back on the planet, even through my bloodline, my social security number popped up 3 4s in it for a reason. And that's the decoding of the number 4. And if you notice on some of these social media websites, you know, you got Mankind, they hitting up the 4, they doing this and they doing that, trying to make it seem like it ain't real, and it's not a part of evolution and evolving the mental, because everything on this planet is a mental extension. You know, either you're just going to be, you know, living, or you're going to be extending. You know, there's some people that are educated, doctor degrees, scholars, and you know, that's cool if you're dealing with the anatomy of a body, science, biochemistry, and wealth building. If you're dealing with that, then yeah, that's totally fine. But when you're coming with something next and you trying to receive, you have to tap in. You have to literally, it's just like a computer. When you get a computer and you got, you know, Windows such and such, you know, in 3 or 4 years, you got to upgrade your computer. Some computers, they got to reswitch their hard drives. Your mind works the same way. The only way you can start decoding this stuff on how the ancient Roman Greeks did it is you have to literally delete stuff out your mind and turn it into a clean slate. You got to get the junk out your mind, everything that you've been taught since you came out the womb. Being activated, because the activation is where the mind power is at. The surge, the electrical surge, tapping into the 4, that number 4. So the O4 was the antenna. It was the electrical surge. It was the antenna. That's why it looked like a horseshoe, one of those horseshoe magnets, the magnetism, the connection. And they closed the top off because that was symbolic for them closing you off to the upper dimension, the 4th dimension, the next dimension. The magnetism. That goes back to the sun. The sun shooting out that intel, that corona, the outskirts of the sun. What's the second layer? That's the magnetism. That's where everything shoots out of, because all your thoughts that you get are not your thoughts. They came from somewhere. Everything that you thought of in your dreams is real. Unicorns, real. Might not be on this planet, but they're somewhere in the universe. Everything is connected. Leprechauns, real. They're real. They might not be on this planet, but they're somewhere else. They're somewhere in the universe. All your thoughts is not your thoughts. The next thoughts are in the 4th dimension. That's where the intel is coming from. It's not coming from the 3rd dimension. All your thoughts that you have are not your thoughts. You want to do your hairstyle a certain way, that's not your thought. breaking down the number 4, the symbolism of the number 4, they connected the top because they're trying to cut you off from the upper dimensions. That's why they connected the top of the 4 to cut off the transmission, to cut off the intel. This is the activated one, New Brighton. Good night.